It is my pleasure to introduce the Dean of Humanities and Sciences here at SMU, Dedman College Dean. Bill Tsutsui has been here for 3 years now. We're going 3 years, and we're so pleased concerning his leadership. He has given us great ideas and great leadership, and we're very, very appreciative. I want to bring him up here to make further introductions.
Well, thank you very much, Tom, and it is a true pleasure on behalf of Southern Methodist University to welcome you all to the 12th Annual Advances in Econometrics Conference. It is an honor for us to be hosting this distinguished group here at SMU, and I want to thank all of my colleagues who have done so much to make this event possible. Above all, many thanks to Tom Fomby, Director of the recently revitalized Richard B. Johnson Center for Economic Studies, who is passionate in everything he does, including the organizing of this conference. And to Nathan Balke, Chair of the Department of Economics, whose calm and measured demeanor makes him an excellent chair, but also a useful moderating force for Tom's exuberance. I would like to recognize several distinguished guests with us here tonight. First of all, Karen Prothero, who is the chair of the SMU Board of Trustees. Karen, could you please stand and be recognized? She is a good friend of Dedman College and a true believer in the liberal arts and sciences. I also want to recognize two deans who are in the room. As I said to them, your social schedules must be really empty that you have come to an economist conference on a Saturday night. But Dean Gillian McCombs of Central University Libraries and John Attanasio from the Dedman School of Law. And I'm also very pleased to welcome Harvey Rosenblum, Executive Vice President and Director of Research at the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas, and his wife, Eileen. Harvey and the Fed, under the very strong leadership of President Richard Fisher, have been enthusiastic and active partners for the Department of Economics and for SMU more broadly. And for that, we are very, very thankful. And needless to say, all of us here this evening are particularly appreciative of the Dallas Fed's generous support of this weekend's conference. I hope this successful event will deepen the relationship between the Fed and the Economics Department of the Johnson Center and lead to more mutually beneficial programs and collaborations down the road. So let's thank the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas. Now, my father was a chemist, and my mother a biochemist, so I spent a great deal of my youth going to academic conferences much like this one. No matter where an event like this is held, and by the time I was 12, I'd been dragged to chemical symposia in Russia, Japan, Italy, and every corner of North America. No matter where such an event is held, it is dreadfully, gruesomely, almost fatally boring to a preteen who would much rather have been, in my case, out playing catch, watching Speed Racer on TV, or hanging out with just about anyone who was not a practicing scientist. I still have loads of bad memories of banquets and dinner programs, painful chemistry jokes, chemical structures scratched on paper napkins and passed around the table. Yet another plate of rubber chicken. But I still have a particularly acute sense of pain at recalling countless welcome speeches from absolutely clueless deans and provosts and vice presidents and chancellors. So there is some kind of wonderful cosmic symmetry that I now find myself inflicting one of these welcome talks on a room full of scholars here tonight. On some level, I feel I should all make you watch an episode of Speed Racer with me, or go outside and toss around a baseball before you're all set free to go back to the bar and the hotel. In any case, I just want you to know how happy we are to have you here in Dallas for this conference, to talk and listen, to learn and share. This is an exciting time at SMU. Not only are we in the midst of celebrating our centennial, and you have seen just 1 year of centennial is not enough for SMU. We have 4 years of centennial. But as I hope you will find in your time here, this campus is optimistic and ambitious, like the city in which we're located. We don't just have big freeways and big hair, but we have big dreams and high expectations. Our economics program, thanks largely to the strong leadership of Tom and Nathan and the other faculty here, is growing and increasingly gaining recognition for its research, its teaching, and its engagement with the profession through high-profile events like this one. So again, thank you for being here. I hope you have a productive and enjoyable time at SMU, and I'll ask my colleague and friend Tom Fomby to come to the podium again. Thank you.
Dean, would you mind coming back up and doing the rest of the program? Thank you, Bill, very much for those kind remarks. I'd like to recognize some special people with respect to Advances in Econometrics. Advances in Econometrics now is in its 30th year. It's a research annual that produces works on selected topics chosen year by the senior editors. We have here today 3 senior editors, Carter Hill from LSU. Okay. Ivan Gilyaskov from University of California, Irvine. And Eric Hillebrand from Aarhus University in Denmark. Of course, I am also a senior co-editor, so you can clap for me. I'd like to really give a special thanks to Margot Montgomery. Margot, why don't you, she organized this group, she got you here. And also her right-hand woman is Stephanie Hall, so we appreciate that very much. And my main woman, Nancy, my wife. So what we're going to do is play sort of a Laurel and Hardy here. I've asked Professor Sims if he would have a mic nearby. I'm going to go through some slides here, and we're just going to give you a little commentary, a feel about the Nobel Prize in Economics. It's a very special event in economics, and it only recognizes premier researchers in our field. This, of course, was in the year 2011. I'm not sure, Chris, what exact date this was, but this is obviously a setup photo. I understand there's some more details that we don't know about, so could you share those with us?
The actual call came at 6 a.m. in the dark, and my wife, we had a new phone by our bed, and my wife hadn't used it much. So the phone rang, she picked it up, she said, "I can't find the talk button," and then it stopped ringing, and so I said, well, at this hour it has to be a wrong number or a prank. And we started to go back to bed, and I said, wait a minute, this is the morning of the Nobel announcement. What's the area code? So she checked the area code, and I looked it up on my phone to find out where it was, and it seemed to be from Texas. So we decided it was a wrong number, and we went back to bed. And then about 15 minutes later, they called again. In the meantime, they had called Tom Sargent and asked him if he knew where to find me. He said they should just try my number again. So my wife picked up the phone the second time, and she didn't say anything. She handed me the phone. She said, if this is a prank call, they're doing a very good Swedish accent.
So you might want to comment, I would guess that Tom was at Princeton University at that time, so this was What location was this?
This is at Princeton. Tom and I were joint teaching a graduate macro course. He's at NYU, but he was teaching 2 courses that year, last academic year, at Princeton on leave. And so Princeton was very happy to have him on campus and have the press conference at Princeton, and the president of NYU hurried out to join us. It's a little ironic that I had actually initially inquired about being on leave that same year and asked NYU about whether they would be interested in having me visit, and they decided they weren't. So I postponed my leave, and the tables ended up being turned.
Could you comment just briefly on Tom's work as compared to yours, just to give the audience a comparison?
Well, we both have worked on monetary economics and the interaction of monetary and fiscal policy. We both use formal econometric quantitative methods. He has done quite a bit of real economic history, which I haven't done. And I've probably done a little more in the way of pushing new econometric techniques. He uses frontier techniques, but hasn't invented them himself.
Well, this is a picture I think was taken the next morning after we received the phone call, and I've labeled it Always a Teacher. I understand that you were more interested in teaching your class than you were in meeting with newspaper reporters, and you were determined to go forward with this lesson. It looks like there is some kind of cost curve. It's not a cost curve in the usual sense.
No, it's not a cost curve. I can't actually remember what that is. But it was this graduate graduate joint course, and no, wait a minute, that's the undergraduate course. Yeah, that was an undergraduate section. It's a misleading photograph because that's a Princeton luxury. I taught one of the section meetings of this course, and it had a total of, I think, 5 to 6 students, almost all of whom you can see in this photo. The photographer arranged everybody so they would show up here. And so this one, we were talking about, we may have